Suzanne's paparazzi jewelry 24.
All right. Well, here we are. Second episode of the season for Inside the Cougar Den. As you see, Coast to Coast Entertainment live here with you inside the Cougar Den. How you doing tonight, guys?
Doing good.
Ready to talk some women's football?
Yeah.
Doing good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what we can get going for tonight. Brandon, I thought that we could start out the show tonight by you kind of talking about why women's football is so near and dear to your heart. Like, why did you decide to jump on and do this with us?
Well, outside of the sport itself, I like football, but my aunt actually played it early 2000s, 2001 to 2002, 2003. There was two teams. There was called a brainstorming tour, I believe it was. It was the Minnesota Minks, or Minnesota Vixens, I'm sorry, and the Lake Michigan Minks. Both teams were based out of Minnesota. They had one big tryout. They split the teams up. They went to 6 different cities. I think they had they went to 3 different cities. They had 6 games, 3 here in Minnesota, and then 3 outside of Minnesota. New York was one of them. I think Cleveland and somewhere else. Their final game was here at the Metrodome before we tore it down. But she played right guard, wore 64 for both teams. She initially went out for a defensive tackle, got injured in a minor car accident, so they held her out of a few practices. And then the first game, the original right tackle for the Lake Michigan Minks got injured, so that's where that's how she fit into getting into the right tackle spot. So, but yeah, no, that's definitely how I got into it. Outside of being football, my aunt played it.
No, thanks for that story. That's it kind of gives us some human element to it for you.
Yep.
And just so everyone knows, I'll jump on Brandon with this one. Internet might be a little slow tonight. I know he's got some weather going on there.
Yeah.
We also are on the tail end of that Arctic blast, if you want to call it. We're supposed to be getting some snow, so if one of us just kind of disappears, Chris B. Bacon will take over, and he'll jump in and he'll do that dynamite drop in, because they don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing.
There you go.
So, as I know, last week we talked about kind of the history of the team, the stats, where everyone kind of went last season. What's your optimistic kind of outlook for the season for the Cougars? What's your an optimistic outlook? Like, what do you guys see for the year?
The few games I saw last year, just more development. I think hopefully Coach Hoffman and the crew can get more solidified in certain positions with certain players, and they don't have to bounce around. I know injury plays a factor in that, and I know the roster is only 25-ish players, so a lot of them have to play double duty. But those important positions like running back, hopefully they can solidify some people, get some passing going, because as we broke it down last week, passing wasn't there, so, and we know in football you got to have a good pass game to have a good run game, or good run game to have a good pass game. So And I hope for our girl Brittany to be a big factor again this year, like she was last year. So just keep on improving.
All right. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Chris, what's your outlook for the season?
I think there's going to be a lot of improvement, a lot of better playing, and I think this team's going to improve a lot. We saw it a little bit towards this end of the season, and I think they can, kind of build off of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we did ask a trivia question last week. Anyone that was watching, and we'll wait for a few more people to jump on before we reveal that answer. But I definitely optimistic. There was a huge. It's happened since then, but there was that huge commercial that aired in Utah for women's football.
Oh yeah,
That they can start as young as I believe. I want to say it's what, 8th grade now in Utah. That
Good.
they can start as young as that. Shelby's on. Says, I think we are going to have a lot of improvement this season. Practice has been a lot more structured, getting focused on our skills for sure. Yes, and Shelby, we will apologize. We have not been out there, but I promise you it's coming. In the next couple of weeks, we do have plans to make it out to a practice and check out what's going on, kind of give everyone a live look in a practice and show where the team is and how the improvement has gone. And so check that out. That'll be here in a couple of weeks. That we'll be doing that before the season starts. And then we kick off the season April 22nd in Seattle.
2 months away.
I know. 2 months from today.
Exactly.
You guys believe that? We've been waiting for this for how long? And it's only 2 months away. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
I've been, watching the games that we broadcasted last week or last year. Excited. I saw the improvement in the fans, the growth in the fans, saw the improvement in the girls. And I'll still bring it up. The interviews that we did, God, it seems like forever ago, which I think it was 2 months ago. The girls were hyped. They got me hyped. So I'm ready, just as well as the girls. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting season. I'm excited for it.
Chris,
Yeah.
give us some insight to why did you want to jump on this project? What brought you in? What made you intrigued?
Yeah, kind of like Big B. I like football. I like any level of football, and I think girls have been trying to want to play football, and I think a lot of people should support it, and this is one way to do that.
And also, J-Mac, when we first started on another network, another show we had, Sports Minute, I mean, we kind of highlighted a lot of unusual sports, the women's side.
Yeah.
A lot of things that, a lot of networks don't cover.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm so happy to be a part of this, and, the sky's the limit for the Cougars and us, our partnership. So I can't wait.
Yeah, and we certainly did talk about that a lot on that other network that will remain nameless. But one thing a lot of people don't know, if it kind of give you a little history of myself, and we'll kind of go around and do that here for a minute. I kind of got started in this whole thing during COVID. I was, that time I was an essential worker. I was working retail, and I would spend every day on my lunch hour just kind of by myself. Like I needed to get out of the store, and so I'd go out to my vehicle and just kind of eat lunch out there so I could be alone for a little bit, decompress for an hour. And actually, I came across something where someone's like, hey, if you use this app, you can kind of start a podcast, And so I did actually start a podcast, and it was J-Mac on his own. You can still go see it. It's still on Spotify and Anchor to this day, all the episodes I posted. But the reason I bring that up is because I had a Wednesday show that I called Wacky Sports Wednesday, and I always highlighted one show. And I'm not saying women's football was in there at all, but I mean, there was some wacky sports. So, yep. I mean, I'm just a sports fan. That's what I want to say. And so when I started this project with Chuck Hoffman, that kind of what got me intrigued. Like I just like sports and all kinds of sports, and I could tell you some of the wacky sports. We've done a few of them. We did a few of them on the Sports Minute, the original version of Sports Minute. We've done a few on Four Bros,
Yeah.
but this is a project I see this going places for sure, and I see it getting bigger and bigger. And ESPN picked up a few games this year. Like that's going to be exciting for the women. And the championship game was on ESPN2 last year, and actually draw a pretty big crowd on ESPN2. So that was pretty exciting. And the fact that the championship game is in Canton, Ohio.
It is a nice stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's right by the Football Hall of Fame. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So that's pretty awesome to think about that's where that takes place. So, yeah. Brandon, kind of give us your history and how you got into kind of sports reporting and sports podcasting and where you're at now.
I mean, just growing up, played a lot of sports. Came across a couple guys doing some wrestling podcast. Followed them, and then came across you guys when you guys were part of another network, and reached out to be a guest on one show, and turned out to join the crew at the time. And then you and your brother and mess around wanted to do our own thing, asked me to come along. So, I'm pretty excited about that. And then, just to be able to cover different sports, talk about sports with a lot of people intrigued me. And then, then you got the opportunity to do this whole Oregon Cougar thing. And, hey, why not be a part of it? I know somewhat football, played a little bit in high school. So hopefully, we can grow this all together.
Yeah, pretty much almost the same story. Kind of jumped on around COVID, talked around, about different sports here, and now we're doing the Oregon Cougars and a bunch of other stuff, and just excited for it.
Sorry, guys. I had my I had my mic turned off and didn't even realize it. I didn't have it turned off on the screen, but I have the Yeti Blue, so I'm able to turn it off in front of it.
Nice.
So I'm sitting here talking, asking Chris a question, and then I looked up and it's red, so I realized then it's off.
I kind of figured you're going to ask the same question, so I kind of just.
I was actually. That's what I was going to ask, is how you got started. And Chris, if I'm not wrong, you have the Die Hard Football podcast, correct?
Yeah, I need to.
Now, right, you're going to bring it back, and I know I have a question. I was going to ask you another question, follow up to that.
Sure.
Are you going to kind of incorporate women's football into that, since it doesn't say NFL podcast, it says football podcast?
Yeah. I can I would definitely.
Well, we know Chris is the historian of all football. I mean, from flag football to
maybe not
team football to whatever.
I mean, historian might not be the right term, but I will tell you that when it comes to football knowledge, when it comes to football knowledge about, I think last year someone asked a question, and I might get the initials wrong. Chris, please don't chastise me if I do. Okay, but I believe it was like the NIFL, the Indoor National Football Association or something. Right. Someone asked a question about that on a show, and you were able to tell them what team was playing, what the score was. And I was just amazed that you keep up with that much football, honestly.
It's a lot sometimes, but I try to keep up with it, as many different sports as possible too. But
it like California or Texas. I'm sorry, Chris, down in Texas. Ain't Texas like the football's national sport? I mean,
I think so. Yeah, maybe not. I would think so.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I've looked up football in Texas, and I will tell you that there's some high school stadiums that I'm literally like, we're talking that's a high school stadium. And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some high school stadiums that NFL teams could play in down in Texas.
Yeah. One of them which Mahomes went and played at, so I think it's Allen, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty
Brandon,
much-
if you're near your computer and you have a chance to Google real quick, just Google a high school stadium in Texas, and just look at what it looks like. You're like, man, you could play an NFL game in there. Warren Marlowe is on it. Warren Marlowe says, "Congrats on Amazon Fire, guys, and man, got to cover the XFL. Hope all is well." That's not this show, so we're not going to do that on this show because this show is dedicated to the Cougars and all things that are football. Yep, we're not talking about that either, Warren. We're not here to talk about the NFL. We're here to talk about women's football. So, what game? What's the one game on the schedule this year, Chris, that you're kind of looking the most forward to?
I probably
Is that really high school stadiums in Texas? Holy cow!
Yeah, I would
Uh-oh.
think that what was it? I think Seattle was back to back. I'm not looking at the schedule off.
Seattle's not back to back. It's Portland. So
Portland,
we go.
that's right.
We go away, or maybe it's Portland.
Here, I don't know.
Yep. It's Portland, but they're back to back, but they're not back to back because
Right, and you got that bye week.
They're the bye weeks in between. So you're at Seattle, at Salt Lake, and then home against Portland. Then you take a week off, and you go at Portland. And I circled those two Portland games as kind of the two most important of the season, I think.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City is going to be a tough game. Definitely going to be a tough game in Salt Lake City, but like I said, I circled those two Portland games as kind of the two most important. I think that's what's going to put kind of the season over the edge, whether on a winning record or a losing record, I think is those two games in Portland, home and then away.
Mhm.
So, but super important. And definitely that last one versus Seattle at home to end the season on the 10th, that's probably going to be a good game as well.
And aren't they like all division, not division, but like, in your conference or
For me, the two games I'm looking forward to is the first Seattle game of the end, just to kind of see how one the Cougars grow, but also to kind of see even Seattle how they grow from game 1 to game 6. So those are the two games that I kind of are looking forward to.
Well, what I always like to see. So when we and we'll get Ace on in here in a minute and get some of his thoughts, but what I always like to see in those instances, Brandon, as you kind of alluded to, and I'll go on that a little bit, is the adjustments that are made. So like if the Cougars come out week 1 in Seattle and just run it down their throat and run for 200 yards in the game, how is Seattle going to adjust to that in the last week? And then are they going to make the Cougars kind of throw the ball to beat them? And so I think that's kind of always something that I like to look at to see how the adjustments are made for sure. And we know that Coach Hoffman likes making adjustments, and he's pretty good at making adjustments at halftime. But we've all heard the rumors of halftime and what really happens. Anyway, so the with that, Ace, give us some thoughts. So what we've talked about is kind of why we joined why we kind of wanted to do this Cougars thing, and kind of what got you into sports broadcasting and such.
What's up? Oh,
What's up?
Oh, sorry. Did you not get any of that? Anyway, I said
No.
what we've covered so far is give us a thought of why you wanted to do this Cougars venture with us, and then what got you into sports broadcasting and sports podcasting.
all right. Well, thank you for that clarification. It's a little snowy over here right now, so because it's a little snowy, the Wi-Fi kind of getting me in and out right now, so it's kind of cutting in and out. So if I happen to cut out, let me know, and I'll try and hop back on. But anyway, so to answer your question, J-Mac, as you know, growing up, we've always been big time sports fanatics, like everything. Like we could always talk for hours about sports. And just playing professional sports, we know that it hasn't been in our cards. We didn't play sports in college. We didn't have that opportunity to. So in the end, we thought, what's even better, getting closer to the game. If you can't play, what's better? And that's definitely broadcasting. Now, for us, the opportunity came along with the Cougars, and I'm like, you know what? This is going to be a fun venture, because not only do you get to see the Cougars, trounce teams and pounce on them and take their prey down. You not only get to see that, but you get to see other places that maybe you have not been able to see. Like when they play in Utah and places like that. I've been to Utah. I haven't had to got to actually venture it, because it was kind of like a little pass through thing. So it's going to be fun. Football has always been my favorite sport. So when anybody mentions why I would broadcast any football, how could you say no? Honestly, how could you say no?
Well,
That's true.
I completely agree with that. Absolutely. Brandon, why don't you kind of take the lead and kind of tell us the job that is done by the defensive backs, what a defensive back is and kind of what they do on the field.
all right. So defensive backs, you got your cornerbacks, you got your left and right. Then you got your strong safety, free safety, and pretty much they're there to cover the receivers, tight ends, running backs that might have come out, intercept the ball, make tackles, break up plays, miss pass interference, and not get burned. And then if they do get to intercept the ball, if they're not tackled or touched, they can go and run with it just like a receiver to score.
Right. And so, what would a lot of people are probably a little confused on. So defensive back, and if you catch the ball, you could score a touchdown. Now, a lot of people hear, "Oh, he just threw a pick six," or "They just threw a pick six." What exactly is a pick six?
Pick six is when the defensive back, or any defensive player, I should say, intercepts the ball that's thrown or recovers a fumble. Well, we're talking pick sixes, but intercept the ball when it's in the air or gets tipped and takes it back and scores a touchdown for their team.
But it's also the same thing for a fumble. If you pick it up and run it in,
Yeah.
That's a touchdown too. So.
Well, right. That was going to be my next question, Chris. You kind of segued right into that. I was actually going to ask Ace to explain kind of the difference between a pick six and a fumble recovery for six, and why we don't call that a pick six.
No, we call it a scoop and score. Right? It's a scoop and score. It's a good old scoop and score.
You're not wrong. And so what we're doing, anyone that's watching right now wondering, we do this every week. We kind of go over one area on the field of players and kind of explain what they do, what their job is, for the ones that might not know about football and the upcoming season and what. So when we refer to those things in the game, you'll know what we're talking about. So it's just a little bit of education, a little bit of us giving back to those watching that might not know about the game. Now let's do something a little different. Now that we're about halfway in here, let's ask. I want to go around and I want to ask each person kind of what their favorite position is on a football team, like the one that you kind of root for the most, and why. Start with you, Brandon.
Well, I would have to go. Since I played both sides, offensive, defensive line. Offensive line, one, You're there to protect your teammates and open up holes for the running game. And the least amount of times you get called, the better off you are, mainly. On the defensive side, the defensive line, you always root for, the big guys to get in there, disrupt the play, get a sack, get that scoop and score, so, but I also like the battle up front because, maybe Hoffman can specify and clarify, but if you can't win the line of scrimmage, you're going to have a hard time winning the game at all. So the battle up front's always been a intriguing battle for me.
Sorry about that. Chris, we'll go on to you, and then we'll go on to Ace. And so go ahead. You take it over right there.
Yeah. So my favorite position on a football field is probably the quarterback. I know Big B talked about the defensive line, but I feel like most of the game, or pretty much all of the game, goes through the quarterback. Most of the game is like spotlights on him, make or break for the game. That's kind of how I feel about the position. One of my favorite positions, quarterback. Ace, what's yours?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to be biased here, and the reason why I'm going to be biased is because I played receiver and corner in high school, so I got to go with the receiver and corner. But my favorite position overall is actually receiver. I love running routes. I love the deep ball. And thing is though to me, it's like I feel like the receiver does not get enough credit. And the reason I'm saying that is like if a quarterback, throws it deep and the receiver lays out and makes this like miraculous catch, the announcer's like, "What a throw!" And it's like, "What a throw! Are you kidding me?" You're like, the receiver just laid out to make that catch. So, to me, I really enjoy watching receivers because I just played it in high school and any of the skill positions or whatever, I completely love it, especially route running. I can't. J-Mac, you remember we used to ride up routes all the time. J-Mac was the quarterback, I was the receiver, all the time. We ran a play that was called the Okey Doke, and we ran it all the time. And that play was virtually unstoppable.
It was, and I will tell you to just kind of take off on that a little bit, off of what Ace is saying. We used to run the okey doke. I would play quarterback. He'd play receiver, and I used to call it. We used to have hand signals, and I would just call it with a hand signal at the line. And it got to a point where everybody that we used to play backyard football with was finally like, "You guys can't be on the same team. It's not fair." And if you're a receiver on our team, you block or run your routes off the bench. Or you run your routes off the bench. Chuck Hoffman brings up a good point. I mean, as a receiver, the guy's running the ball behind you. You can't just stop. You have to you have to be able to block too, block down the field.
You do. And that's why for me, I've always said I don't think the receivers get enough credit. They don't. There's certain receivers that they go, okay, this guy might make 2 catches a game or whatever, but it's like, okay, but what else does he do? Right. He goes out there and blocks and gets key blocks. Like they don't see the little things that the receivers do. That's why it's like my favorite position, because they do a lot more than what people think they actually do.
All right. I guess it's my turn, and my favorite position on the field, and my favorite position on the field is linebacker, because there's nothing like standing in the middle of the field and waiting for that little old bitty receiver to come right across the middle of the field and try to catch that ball. I'm just saying, there ain't no feeling like that to me. So I've always loved the linebacker position. And the linebacker is kind of the safeties can be too, but the linebackers are more kind of the quarterback of the defense.
Yep.
They're the ones that you, as a linebacker, you have to know where everybody is going to be at. You have to read the offense and know where everybody's going. Because if one of those receivers breaks off of your DB, I mean, you got to be there. You have to be the spy also. You have to know if the quarterback is going to pitch it or run it themselves. You have to know if they're going to play action. So there's a lot involved in the linebacker position. We'll talk more about linebackers next week. I think that'll be the position we'll talk about next week as that goes. Chuck Hoffman's here. So with that, I want to ask everyone if you remember what last week's question was as far as the Cougars went. And the question for
longest rushing yard, wasn't it? Rushing touchdown or rushing play?
Yes, longest rushing play of the season for the Cougars. If anyone remembers what the yardage amount was.
It was like over 500 yards.
No. One rush, Chris.
One rush.
Oh, okay.
That's a hell of a rush.
That would be, that would be quite the rush there. Dang.
It would. I thought you meant total. My bad.
No.
Yeah, no.
It was 50, wasn't it?
It was 50 yards. Yes, it was. And like Coach Hoffman put out there, the Mike back is the quarterback of the D.
Yep.
And I agree with that. So let's see. We talked why. Brandon, do you have those helmets in your house of your aunt's, or was that?
No, those are actually in her house. We went. I went there this past weekend because of my nephew or my cousin. Just got back from basic military, the Marines, and he's going to be shipping off here in a couple weeks. So they had a little welcome home, going away party for him. She has them displayed in her house. So
good. I mean, pride for sure on doing that. And let's see. So let's catch up with Chuck Hoffman here. Brandon is my guy. I believe that those are the true skill players. He likes the line too. If you're a receiver in a team, you block. We went through that. When you block, you run routes off the bench. He says correct. And I believe that's when he's talking to Ace about the little things that receivers do. And Mike back is a quarterback of the defense. So someone was saying the schedule had changed. Chuck Hoffman has confirmed it has not changed. And so just so we know that has not changed. Anyone joining us, we're Coast to Coast Entertainment live here with Inside the Cougar Den on a Wednesday night. It's about 8:30 Pacific time. Most people from the Pacific are probably watching this. We are the fifth show of the WFA, the team, like the teams that actually have a team-specific show. So that's pretty exciting for the second-year team. What's one thing that you think that you would like to see? Maybe that we don't always see. So I guess this is thanks Chuck. We think you're pretty awesome too.
Absolutely. I will say this. I admire Chuck very, very much, and the reason why I admire Chuck very, very much, and I don't know if a lot of people know this too. Like, I've talked a lot about how I've wanted to play football and like do broadcasting for football and things like that. But one of my dreams also has to actually been I would love to be some sort of coach on a football team of some sort. It's always been a dream of mine. So, Chuck, I admire you so much for what you do and how skilled you are at the job that you do. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Coach. And I want to talk about for a minute, since we're talking about Coach Hoffman, I want to tell you how everyone on this team, from the GM on down, have nothing but good things to say about Chuck Hoffman, and how he's just a good guy. You're down and out on your luck. I mean, you come to his house, he's going to give you whatever he has. He's going to take care of you if you're part of his family. And that's not just his family. I mean, that's the Cougars. The Cougars are part of his family. He's let us know at Coast to Coast, we're part of that Cougars family. So you're there and you need something, like he's going to be there for you. And so Chuck's a good guy, and couldn't ask for a better working relationship with a guy also than Chuck Hoffman. So definitely done a lot for us, and we'll do the best we can for him. What's one thing? Okay, let's ask this. As football fans, we've seen a lot, watching on TV, being at games and that. What's kind of one thing that you're super excited about to get to experience this year as the media side of it, the things we don't get to experience as a fan? Like, think about that for just, a half a second before you answer. Like, what's one thing that you feel like you're going to super excited? And I can tell you what mine is because I got to experience it last year, but I just kind of want you guys to give me an idea of what that one experience is that you're going to enjoy more than any other ones. And I'll actually start different this time. I'll start with Ace.
So it's going to be, I think to me, it's going to be cool to be kind of like at the field level without actually having to, like for me, J-Mac and Big B and Crispy, I've talked about this before. Like, I've been an official for multiple years. I've officiated games, and so I've had to sit there and not been able to like actually enjoy the game because I have to sit there and actually officiate and be like, this is wrong, this is wrong, and this is wrong. So I think it's going to be a good experience where I can actually sit there and actually record and actually truly enjoy the football game and enjoy what I'm doing without actually having to worried about whether there's a holding call, pass interference, or whatever. So that's truly what I'm looking forward to.
All right, Chris.
I've been trying to think. Probably I guess seeing the game from a different perspective. Yeah, we've seen games and all that, but we're covering it in probably a different way, and we probably get a lot more information than probably the normal fan does.
No, that's a good one. Brandon?
For me, I mean, it's just, maybe getting that, halftime interview, the pregame interview, the end of the game interview, doing this show and hopefully getting some of the players on just to kind of pick their brains on the last game of the upcoming game. Stuff like that, yeah, we get to see on TV and stuff, but we don't get to ask the questions, and, so sit down with Chuck Hoffman and get his perspective on, the coaching side of things and, stuff like that. So that's what I'm kind of ready for.
Right. And for me, it's that watching the game and getting to break it down and tell you what's happening live. It's just it because you find yourself doing it. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because I think we've all done this. You're playing a game of Madden, okay, and you're sitting there calling the game while you're playing it. Like, he drops back in there, he hits his receiver on the slant pass. So, I mean, getting to experience that and do it live in a game is amazing. It was an awesome feeling last year. I can't wait to get to do that again. I mean, that was amazing to get to just give that different perspective. Like, actually what I'm saying, someone's listening to, and they're actually getting it. So then I got to keep in my mind, I got to keep them energized. I got to, I got to make sure that I'm not just a monotone and keeping this like, and then they take the ball and they hand it off to number 22 and 22. Right? You can't be like that. You gotta. It's almost like acting in a movie, and you're playing a character, and you got to keep that. You got to keep everyone entertained, and so definitely looking the most forward to that. So that's something great. Let's see. What else can we talk about? Ace, you got anything you want to talk about?
Not too much. Just that I'm looking forward to the first game of the season in Seattle. I definitely cannot wait for it, and it's going to be a fantastic experience. And I can't wait to see Coach Hoffman up close and doing what he does best there.
Doing what he does best. And he does a great job. He does a great job. And, we'll have everyone there that he needs and help. And don't forget the swag. I think I still have it. Oh, man, I might have hung it up in the closet. Anyway, we have the Cougars shirts. They have the hats available. They have other swag available. They're going to be at the game. That Cougar blue is what it is, and so check that out. Make sure you come down and check out the vendors that are there too. They bring in food vendors, and they're all local. So that's the great thing about Chuck Hoffman. He also believes in local, like taking care of your local people. And so will bring in all local people to take care of everything in the game. I mean, we're local, he's local. I mean, wanted to keep it local. So definitely come and take care of your local vendors and make sure that you can there. I'm going to get a list of sponsors, I think, from Chuck Hoffman for next week with the sponsors we have now. And we'll go through those before the season starts. For sure, so that we know who all of them are. The roster, that's the other thing we were going to do, I think. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. I know I had a sign up here on a link on my phone so that I could go straight into that. So I'm going to make sure all of these people are playing this year, but the ones I know for sure, Brianna Boyce, Aubrey Morales, Letty Robles, Nicole Noyes.
What position are these ladies playing?
Oh, you know what? That's great. Thanks for asking that, Big B, because people probably want to know that. These are the positions they played last year. So,
Okay.
Brianna Boyce, running back.
Okay.
Aubrey Morales, linebacker. Letty Robles, linebacker. Nicole Noyes, strong safety. Catherine Alvarez, I don't believe is with the team this year, but she was defensive end last year and running back. Anastasia Brandy, running back. Marissa Valdez, kicker. Adriana Vasquez was quarterback. Crystal Koch, offensive line. Alicia Smoot, running back. Alana Talupu, quarterback. Becky Luban, wide receiver. Macy Rennan, quarterback. Desi Manti, wide receiver. Gabriella Pintel, running back. Chuck will get me an updated roster tomorrow. Well, there we go.
All right.
Teresa Miller, offensive line. Kari Colbert, offensive line. I'm going to butcher this one, but Jamalani Zuleta, running back. Here's our girl, Brandy Pianki. She's listed as a wide receiver, but she plays everywhere. So let's just make sure that we know that.
And a lot of players do play more than one position. I know they list them as one position, but
Teresa Calabaro, Laura Gomez, offensive line. Sarah Sherrod, linebacker. Kira Fountain, didn't we see her on here, or was that Shelby? That was Shelby. Kira Fountain, offensive line. Chelsea Navarro, defensive line. Skyla Kunahisa, offensive line. Sarah Hescock, defensive end. Shelby Fountain, there she is.
There she is.
Offensive line. So we'll get an updated roster, and we'll have that.
It's Brittany.
Isn't that what I said? I'm sorry.
Oh, you said Brandy. You threw me out there for a second. I wasn't correct you, but yeah.
Oh, man. I feel so bad. I do, because, man.
You called your name a lot last year, too.
I know, I did. I can't believe I did that. Thank you for the correction. Ollie Herbert,
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's Herbert and not Bear because I've seen it both ways. So I apologize if it's not Herbert and it's Bear. But yeah, I am sorry that I said Brandy. I meant Brittany. And like I said, there are some people on that roster.
Yep.
There are a few other called that are not playing this year. It's Herbert. Okay.
Yeah, next
So
week
that's-
we'll have the updated roster for Hoffman. So
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have an updated roster. Apologize if anyone wasn't called or if someone was called that isn't on the team this year. So apologize for that. We'll make sure we get that corrected for next week's show, and that all of that is good. A couple of minutes left, guys. It looks like Ace had to jump off internet problems, I think. Let's see what. Sorry, got stuck for a minute. Let's remember that we don't. The Cougars don't charge an admission, so you can bring your family down and get in for and give them a solid donation. Don't throw them a buck for bringing 4 people in. I mean, we want you to watch the game, but
yeah.
They're out there. They're doing this all for nothing, and so we want to help them out the best we can. Make sure we're throwing them something for that, and so let's. Let's make sure that we're doing that. And this is all a work in progress, and Chuck's right. It's all a work in progress, and so let's work. Let's work on the progress together. As far as we're still preseason, they're still preseason, but we're all going to work on kind of this stuff together, and then during the season. Sorry, I'm reading something else that's kind of important. Anyway, I think that's about where we're going to end tonight. We usually go about an hour, but we're just kind of going to end that tonight, and we'll be on next Wednesday. This is going to be kind of a staple, Wednesdays at 8 Pacific time. Unless, we're covered in 10 feet of snow and we can't get there, but I don't think that's going to happen here in Eugene. That probably isn't going to happen. Not this. I mean, February is usually the worst weather for us, so we're almost through February. To wait through that. So we'll see what happens with that. Any final thoughts, Brandon?
No, for me, just thanks for everybody that hopped on. From Chuck Hoffman down to any of the team, reach out to J-Mac if you guys want to get on for a quick interview. I definitely would love to chit chat with you. Get your thoughts on the season. But I'm always blessed to get on this journey with these guys and the team. So can't wait for what comes next.
All right. And Chris, any final thoughts from the best color man in the game?
Yeah, we're getting close to the season, month away exactly. It's been a while of waiting, and we're going to continue that. But I think the off season is going to go by quick with the show, and we're here all year, all season. So.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for that. And this is J-Mac for Big B, for Crispy Bacon, for Ace that was on for a little bit, for everyone on this team and all the Oregon Cougars. We thank you so much for watching. We can't wait for the season to start. The collaboration between the two of us is going to be awesome. Again, remember, it's a work in progress. We're not perfect. No one's perfect. And so excited to get out there. So are we, Shelby. And we do this all for you. Thank you, Chuck Hoffman. The rest of you, we're out.